What's good, YouTube? Steel here, and in this expert solo battle guide video, it's going to be a little bit different because we're not taking on a specific opponent, we're taking on a specific challenge, and in this case, we're talking about the no trainer included in your deck challenge. And in Wisdom of Sea and Sky, there are two battles that include this. This is the whole Lugia and the Lanturn EX, and if you're looking on videos how to beat those challenges with the specified type or 3 diamonds or less, I made those in a separate video that are already on the channel, and I'll link them down below. But as for how to beat them with no trainers, the best way to do is just jumping straight into the deck list. But before we do that, I'd like to ask y'all to please consider subscribing, as the recent support has completely outpaced my growth up to this point, and if we can reach 1,000 subs by the end of the month, that would be truly amazing. Regardless, thank y'all in advance, and let's jump right into the no trainer deck list. Before we get into the card by card or the deck list in general, I want to specify that the energy we are using is dual energy. We're playing both psychic and lightning energy in this deck, although like maybe it was clear by the Pokemon that we're using, but I felt like they need to specify it. Nonetheless, the strategy is pretty straightforward once you see it in action. As you see here, we have a small, or actually basically an Eevee package. We are playing the 2 Eevees, 2 Eevee EX, 2 Espeon EX, and 2 Sylveon EX. The reason for this is that the Sylveon EX half, like with the non-EX Eevee, is sort of like completely based on consistency. We have searching from the Find a Friend, and then we have Draw 2 that really gets us all the pieces we're looking for, or that are necessary for the challenge. And then the Eevee EX and Espeon EX are a little more aggressive. Not only does Espeon do more damage, Eevee EX is able to swing for 30, and ultimately when you combine the two, like basically once you have Espeon up front, something that's like I guess I didn't think of when I put it into the deck, but then obviously you started seeing, is the healing for 30 makes it quite the wall. As the only thing that you're truly worried about early game, especially in these specific challenges that we're talking about for Wisdom of Sea and Sky, is like the Zera Aura. That is because if they have an EX up front, you just have Oricorio, right, which we talk about later. But if they don't have an EX, which would be like the Zera Aura, is usually the Pokemon that both these decks have. Espeon walls it enough in the sense that since you're healing 30 and they're only dealing 50, you're only taking 20 a turn, and that gives you enough time to either find Oricorio for like the later, or build up the Espeon to knock out Zero Aura, or you just build up your Giratina or Magnezone in the back line. Nonetheless, the entire Eevee line is perfect for a no trainer battle, to the extent where I even considered running the Umbreon to have not only a Professor's Research in Sylveon, but having a Cyrus / Sabrina in Umbreon. Ultimately, it felt too clunky, and I opted for the Espeon since the healing also has a good use. And as mentioned before, we're playing Oricorio, as it's by far the best card for all these solo missions, not only for no trainer, just in general. The fact that most of these solo battles rely on building up a big EX mon, and Oricorio just walls it regardless of what it does, so you know it has to be in this deck. After Oricorio, I decided to play some Pokemon that are like self-reliant, that they don't worry about what anything else is going on. All they care about is themselves, like Giratina, that charges itself regardless of, even if I produce 4 lightning energies for the first half of the game, Giratina is going to find its energy. And same thing for Magnezone, even if I'm producing all just psychic, once you have Magneton, you're building up your own lightning energy. And the best part about Magnezone is that it allows you to go like Oricorio. Let's say they find a way to out the Oricorio, you could jump into Magnezone and then go into either Giratina or Arceus. The fact that it's a 1-pointer is probably like, doesn't come up as much because usually Oricorio is just like the wall that you need. But trust me, it's an important thing to have in the deck regardless. Then, as mentioned, Giratina is the same as Magnezone, you're just building up. And then, last but not least, we have the best generic finisher in not only solo battle, but I guess in Pokemon, in Arceus. Because regardless of what energy is being placed, basically, if you have a Giratina building itself up, a Magnezone building itself up, the remaining energy could just go straight into the Arceus, and that builds up 3 finishers, while Oricorio is just walling up whatever they have in front, or Espeon's healing itself while you're building either one of these. Realistically, you don't have a backline of like Magnezone, Giratina, and Arceus. But the reason we play so many like finishers is just you want to see at least 1 or 2, while Espeon and Oricorio are the walls that are letting you build these things up. With that said, it's not much more to say about the strategy. As always, I'm sure there's occasions where a lackluster start could lead you to losing, but more often than not, trust me, this list will work perfectly for not only these 2 no trainers, but if you go like retroactively and try to take on the other no trainer challenges from past sets, it will do just as well, if not better. As always, feel free to make suggestions or ask questions in the comments below. Thanks for watching, and above all else, stay pro. Right, so for example number 1, we're going second, and we're going against the whole Lugia deck. Doesn't get much easier than starting Oricorio, huh? We are going second. There's a world where we start Eevee and Search, but we'll only do that if like they lead Raikou or something. They don't play any like hand disruption anyways, but still, I guess the correct way to play going second would be to put everything down, but Zero Aura. Yeah, that also could be tough for the Oricorio, but don't know why I pronounce it that way, but here we are. Alright, they blanked on silver. Regardless, what we'll do is obviously retreat the Ori, build up Giratina. What way do we want to do this? Because we could double charge Giratina. Take a hit from the Ori. Now let's protect Ori at all costs, because if we throw everything at them, then we're fine, right? So let's go... I guess we also have a Magnemite. We could throw Magnemite out. Like, we could sacrifice the Magnemite. Espeon also starts healing for 30. Kind of like walls up for a bit. Let's do that. Let's send out Eevee. Charge up Giratina. The only reason that the Ori... Like, obviously Eevee would have been a better start. And not even, right? Because I think using Bello is still the better play here. Alright. Alright, healing here. Then we're gonna do... We could either double charge Giratina. But it doesn't make sense anyways because of the... So we're gonna put an energy on Espeon so it could retreat. And charge Giratina. Then we double charge Giratina next turn. If we didn't retreat the Oricorio, then we would have been able to have Giratina online already. So maybe in hindsight that was a mistake, but... Again, Espeon's gonna wall their aura enough. And now we got Magneton. Almost forgot to do this, not gonna lie. Yeah, let's just go double charge Gira and we're fine. From here, I don't see us losing at all. Not to mention that they're getting hard stuck on fire energy. Also that... What is... They're just pressing buttons at this point. Alright, so heal up Espeon. It's also good to know, it hasn't come up here, but Espeon could heal anything. It doesn't have to be an evolution, it doesn't have to be itself, it doesn't have to be a psychic Pokemon. So, in this example, it hasn't come up, but keep that in mind. Like, maybe had we let Oricorio take a hit, we could have then swapped to Espeon and started healing the Oricorio. That's another lineup play that we had access to. Now we'll retreat to Gira. Charge up Magneton. So although I'm pretty sure I went over it in the intro, or I will go over it because full transparency, I'm recording the gameplay and then I do the intro, or in this case I'm doing that way. The whole idea is a bunch of Pokemon that like rely on themselves, like Giratina self charges, Magneton self charges. You could put all your energy to Arceus. Oricorio's just walls up basically everything. They're playing it so like, granted they couldn't play any better. Like they're pretty much cooked. So I don't blame them for playing it so awkwardly, but it's still funny to see, like, charging up Magbies, caping Magbies. Like, they haven't seen a water energy all game, right? Eventually we'll see an energy that Oricorio might be able to attack with, but yeah. Again, this is like, I guess, a bad example for the Lugia Ho deck, but realistically, their best opener would have been not Zero, it would have been Ho, and in which case we had the Oricorio lead. So we would have just been sitting there until we get the win, right? Charge up here. Yeah, and then this is basically GG's because they have the most they could do is like a Lima, and then retreat back into the Lugia, but that doesn't. That's just like delaying the inevitable. Yeah. They even placed the energy on the Magby, like it's... This AI is probably one of the worst that we've seen in quite a while, if I'm being honest. And yeah, that's example number one. As you can see, like you can't even like say like, oh, we got lucky. They just played it like horrendously. There's not much to say. What did work though was like every aspect of our deck. So let's go on to the example against Lanturn. Alright, so for example number 2, we're going second against Lanturn. Stuff that the only basic we got was Giratina, huh? I'm sure we'll figure it out. All we really need is one psychic energy, and we're ahead in curve. Except, not really, right? Because Pichu puts their curve up in front. We'll see what they do. Okay, so they missed on Chinchou so far, which is huge. Okay, we got an Eevee, and we have a psychic energy coming, so. Alright, so we'll be ready to attack the not this upcoming turn, the following one. So we'll see what we could do with that. Yeah, the AI let's look at that. Having a Chinchou, they decided to do the worst play possible is what they decided to do. Alright, so if we have a psychic energy coming next turn as well, we could play a little bit more aggressive. We don't though. Alright, I'm gonna use the Eevee to draw a few cards in hopes to find something a little more secure. Let's see. Once they go into Lanturn, this is gonna be secure. So let's go here. Alright, so let's see here. Lanturn is okay. Alright. So unless they have Elemental Switch, they can't attack with Lanturn next turn. And as we saw, they kind of like throw it out there regardless of what's the situation. Probably gonna follow up with Oricorio. So let's get rid of the Oricorio counter, and then even if they have the Elemental Switch, it could get awkward. Because our best, let's see here. Our best chances are if bro, I'm so worried. Is if this Giratina doesn't drop. Alright, perfect. Okay, cool. And they Pichu, and they obviously don't have a basic to put it on. That's the least of our worries, right? Let's retreat into Oricorio. Again, they do play I'm blanking, but I'm trying to say they play Sabrina. Okay, that's what I was trying to say. We could put down Eevee, sort of like if they end up playing Sabrina, we protect our EXs, and we could still do like 1 point like that. I'm gonna go that angle. Get rid of Pichu. I know Pichu technically isn't doing anything there, but we'll get the free point. It makes it like, I don't know. Like there's no point not to do it, right? Because now we have the line where we start building up the Giratina. Okay, so they could. Okay, so I was like, why would they do that? They could paralyze Oricorio, right? Which is fine. That means we use the turn to. I didn't notice that it says that definitely be heads there. I didn't see that. But yeah, we could build up Giratina now. Technically, we don't. We could also start setting up like a Sylveon attack as well. Let's do that instead. Let's go energy here. And again, the reason we're not evolving Eevee, because once again, it fits the bill of if they have Sabrina, we don't really want to be wasting, like giving them a 2-pointer. Because I say they Sabrina, we give them Sylveon, and they attack and they paralyze it. The Sylveon's stuck, and we automatically give them 2 points. Granted, from then on out, they're stuck on Oricorio, but yeah. Okay, we got the Giratina ready to attack. This could get annoying. Psych. Let's just hit straight for the 50. And now it's just a matter of not getting paralyzed. So you can swap into Giratina for game. Like, okay, so they could have. So they had the play where they could have retreated. Okay, so this is what we're talking about. They had the option to retreat into the new Lanturn and have it ready to attack with Elemental Switch, and they were just like, let's instead like completely punt, right? And yeah, again, Eevee doing his job which was not giving them 2 points. And then we have just enough HP to attack with the Giratina and closing it out. So it wasn't the prettiest win. It's definitely, the whole Lugia is definitely like the easier of the two, but this list works perfectly fine for both. And there's lines where if you open double Oricorio, both decks can't beat you. But yeah, here we're just attacking for game. And yeah, hopefully this deck works. This deck works for any no trainer battle that's been there before. Although I didn't go retroactively try it out. I could, just like from consistency alone from the Sylveons, the healing from Espeon, just the power. It's probably the most consistent and best way to play with no trainers. As always, thank you for watching. Please consider subscribing, and above all else, stay pro.